You'll never be good enough to be her. Let me ask you something. What would you do if your own mother said that to your face, in front of everyone? Because that's exactly what happened to me. The room went quiet, but not the kind of quiet that protects you. No, the kind that judges you. The kind where everyone hears it, everyone understands it, and no one disagrees. I was sitting at the far end of the table, gripping my fork so tightly my fingers hurt. Sunday dinner. Same as always, same dishes, same people, same invisible line drawn between me and my sister. Vanessa. Perfect Vanessa. She was laughing softly, head tilted, soaking in the attention like she always did. My mom, Gloria, barely even glanced at me when she said it, like I wasn't worth the effort. You should learn from her, she added, casually, like she was giving helpful advice, not tearing something apart inside me. And here's the thing. This wasn't new. I've been second place my whole life. The almost, the why can't you be more like her, daughter. I learned to swallow it, smile through it, pretend it didn't matter. But tonight, something was different. Because for the past 3 months, things hadn't been adding up. Strange phone calls, letters I didn't understand, emails about payments I never agreed to. At first, I ignored it, thought it was a mistake, a scam, maybe. But then I opened one letter, and everything shifted. My name, my signature, a mortgage, a whole house, a long-term loan, monthly payments I had never made, but somehow I owed. My heart started racing. I flipped through the pages, hoping, praying it was some kind of error. But then I saw it. The signature. Mine. Same curve, same handwriting. And suddenly, a memory surfaced. About a year ago, my mom asked me to sign some documents, said it was for a family investment. She rushed me through it, told me not to worry, that it was just paperwork to help everyone out. I trusted her. I didn't read it. And now I was staring at the consequences of that trust. But here's where it gets worse. I decided to dig deeper. Quietly. No confrontation, not yet. I searched the property address listed on the document, and when it popped up, my stomach dropped because I recognized it immediately. That wasn't just any house. That was Vanessa's house. The same house she proudly showed off on social media, the one my mom constantly bragged about, the one that proved once again that Vanessa had it all figured out. Except she didn't. Because legally, that house wasn't hers. It was tied to me. And suddenly, every compliment, every comparison, every "why can't you be more like her?" started to feel staged, like I had been cast in a role I never agreed to play. So I made a decision. I wouldn't confront them right away. No arguments, no emotional outbursts. I would wait. Watch. Gather everything. And when the time came, I wouldn't just ask questions, I'd expose the truth. So let me ask you, what happens when the truth finally gets dragged into the light and no one is ready for it? Because the second those words left my mouth at dinner, everything cracked. You don't know what you're talking about, my mom snapped almost instantly. Too fast, too sharp. That wasn't confusion, that was defense. And that's when I knew I wasn't wrong. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't argue. I just reached into my bag, pulled out my phone, and unlocked it slowly. Calm movements, controlled. But inside, my heart was pounding so loud I was sure everyone could hear it. "You want to explain this, Dunn?" I said. I started reading. Dates, loan amounts, missed payments. Every word hit the table like a hammer. The room shifted. You could feel it. My uncle leaned forward. My cousin stopped eating mid-bite. Even Vanessa, she wasn't smiling anymore. Then I dropped the detail that changed everything. "The address listed?" I said, glancing up. "It's Vanessa's house." Silence. Not awkward silence, not confused silence, the kind that demands answers. Vanessa blinked, shaking her head slightly. "Wait, what? That doesn't make sense." But here's the thing. Her reaction wasn't pure shock. It was hesitation. Like part of her already knew something wasn't right. She just never pushed hard enough to find out. "I thought Mom handled everything," she added, quieter now. Handled everything. Let that sink in. So she didn't ask questions, didn't check, didn't care as long as everything looked perfect on the outside. And suddenly, this wasn't just about my mom anymore. It was about both of them. My mom tried to recover quickly. Her tone changed, softer now, but not sincere. She said, "We did this for the family. You're being dramatic. Why would you embarrass us like this?" Embarrass us? I almost laughed. For years, I was the embarrassment, the comparison, the one who wasn't enough. And now suddenly I was the problem for telling the truth? That's when I realized something important. They weren't sorry. They were just caught. So I leaned forward slightly and said the one thing I had been holding back. "I've already spoken to the bank." That got their attention. "And a lawyer," I added. Now my mom's face changed completely. The confidence? Gone. The control? Slipping. "You wouldn't do that," she said quietly. But this time, she sounded unsure. I held her gaze. I said, my voice steady, "If this isn't fixed, I'm taking it to court." No yelling, no drama. Just facts. And just like that, the power in the room shifted. Because this wasn't a family disagreement anymore. This was legal. And for the first time, they realized I wasn't backing down. The tension didn't end at dinner. In fact, it was only getting started. A few days later, I found myself sitting across from Daniel Okeke, 41, my lawyer. His office smelled faintly of leather and coffee, the kind of place where decisions aren't debated, they're executed. He looked at the pile of documents I had brought, then at me. "Amara," he said slowly, "this isn't just a mistake. Your signature is on everything. But based on how it was obtained, there's a strong case for fraud or coercion." I swallowed. I wanted relief, but all I felt was the weight of betrayal. Because it wasn't just numbers and letters on paper. It was my life twisted into someone else's story. My trust weaponized against me. Then the calls started. Vanessa called first, her voice trembling, unsure. "Amara, I didn't know," she said. It wasn't enough, not yet, because part of her did know. She lived in that house, benefited from everything, and never asked. But hearing her falter, finally realizing the truth, was almost satisfying. Almost. Meanwhile, my mom's attempts at damage control were frantic. Texts, calls, even showing up at my apartment. But desperation doesn't erase consequences. She was losing the control she had wielded for decades. As the legal process unfolded, more evidence came to light. Emails from Gloria instructing banks to process payments using my information, handwritten notes she claimed I'd signed. Everything lined up, proof of intent. And the emotional blow? That she had picked me, the less capable daughter, the one she told repeatedly, "You'll never be good enough." She chose me because I would never question it. Vanessa came to see me again, this time without pride. No smirk, no casual superiority, just, "I didn't ask questions. I should have," she admitted. Her voice cracked, and in that moment, the roles reversed. I wasn't the powerless one anymore. I had the truth. I had the leverage. I had control. By the time the court date arrived, I was ready. I had laid everything out meticulously. The mortgage, the payments, the deception, the manipulation. The legal team confirmed. Gloria was legally accountable. Vanessa implicated indirectly, but would face consequences if she refused to cooperate. I remember looking at my mom as the judge spoke. Her face had lost all its usual bravado, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel small. I wasn't the disappointment. I wasn't invisible. I left the courthouse that day carrying more than just relief. I carried clarity, truth, and a sense of power I never thought I'd have. But what would happen next? How would my family rebuild or collapse after this? That question was already looming, bigger than any legal judgment. The day of the hearing felt heavier than anything I had experienced before. The courtroom smelled like polished wood and tension. I sat quietly, letting my lawyer, Daniel, present the evidence. Every document, every email, every bank notice, it all told the story I had been carrying alone for months. The judge listened intently. Then came the ruling. The mortgage in my name would be officially transferred away from me. Gloria, my mother, would face legal consequences for her deliberate deception. Vanessa, while not criminally liable, was ordered to cooperate in resolving the property situation and reimburse any funds improperly tied to my name. Everything I had feared and hoped was confirmed. The truth was finally official. As I stepped outside, the weight that had been pressing down on me for months lifted, if only slightly. Relief, validation, justice. But there was more than legal victory. There was an emotional release. I finally understood that all those years of comparison, of being told I wasn't good enough, were lies wrapped in authority. I wasn't less. I wasn't weak. I had been manipulated, and now I had the power to reclaim my life. The aftermath unfolded in real time. Gloria's calls went unanswered. She was isolated from family members who had begun questioning her integrity. Vanessa had to face the reality of the house she had been living in, the mortgage she hadn't questioned, and her own role in the deception. She started making payments herself and rebuilding her life independently, humbler and more self-aware. My extended family began to shift their loyalties and reassess their assumptions, finally seeing me in a new light, not as the second-best daughter, but as someone strong and capable. As for me, I moved into a modest apartment of my own. I repaired my credit, settled my finances honestly, and created boundaries I had never had before. I wasn't living in my sister's shadow or my mother's manipulation anymore. I was free. I had my voice, my freedom, my power, and that, more than anything, was worth everything I had endured.